Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? We're just going to give everyone a second here to get situated. Need to see some eyes. I see my Marlene says hello, hello, hello. Oh, there we go. Did you guys miss me? I didn't do any lives last week because I was away on holidays. And then now this week I'm playing catch up. Okay, so here's everybody coming in. Hello, hello. You're all here to see the Unity goodness. Oh, good. Christina's here because Christina, you're going to have a few of these coming your way. It's a nice sunny day today. I just don't know how many people are going to show up, but we'll do this anyway. And you can always watch it on replay. So Unity Stamps is not a new company. It's new for us. This is our first time carrying it. I've always been an admirer from afar. I do have a couple of sets in my own personal stash that I collected. I think it might even have been at Scrapfest that I picked them up. But I'm guilty in saying that there's no ink on them. So I've never actually used them. But I'm very inspired. Okay, so Marianne has a question. Quick question before you begin. What is the brand of your thick black stick mat? Okay, I'm not sure which one you're referring to. So if you can give me a little more detail, I am happy to share that. But yes, I have been admiring Unity, and my biggest hesitation with them was that they don't really come with dies. Occasionally they come out with dies with some of their sets after they release them, but it's not something that they do. But the more I pay attention to their design team and how they create their cards, the more I'm realizing that dies are not 100% necessary. I mean, your brain has to switch because we're so programmed, stamp die, stamp die, stamp die. Yes, and Tracy, we're going to get to that. So they that was kind of a hurdle for me for bringing them into the store, because I thought, well, our customer's going to like this, that they don't have dies, but I think I can persuade you to see that you do not need a die to make these stamps work. And okay, the one you use, and so does Jennifer McGuire, when you are inking postage collage, etc., does that help? Okay, are you talking about a sticky mat? Is that what you mean, Marianne? If you're talking about a sticky mat, I use the Altenew one, but there are several brands. Like Waffle Flower has sticky mats, Altenew has sticky mats, and now Pink Fresh has sticky mats. I'm going to continue to use my Altenew one because I don't really need a new one. So if it's this that you're talking about, that's what I use. Now they do have thin ones available. Yes, sticky. They do have thin ones available. They're downstairs. I didn't bring any of those up. I do have something that would be like similar. So let me pull this up. So here's a thin one from My Sweet Petunia. Gina K has ones like this. Altenew has them for their stamp wheel. Now these ones are not the photopolymer sticky mats. These are just like a plastic with adhesive on them. So eventually this sticky goes away and you'll have to replace the mat. Although you can gently wash them with warm soapy water and they do kind of come back. But this is like the material that your stamps are made of. And you wash this under soapy warm water and let it air dry and it gets sticky right away. But I would say the Waffle Flower ones, the Altenew ones, and the Pink Fresh ones are all very good. I don't have a black one. So the black mats are not actually black. If you're talking about the photopolymer ones, it's the sheet that goes behind it that is black. And so that is made by Waffle Flower. I'm not sure if we have any of those in stock. We might, if you go on and look under Waffle Flower. Oh, and Gina K also makes a grip mat too. They are stamps on the front, and then the grip mat part is on the back. So, Marianne, if you want more information, please feel free to email me at twoscrapbookfriends@gmail.com, and I can go through a few things with you. I just want to make sure we're talking about the right thing. I don't want to give you the wrong information. But anyways, back to Unity. So I'm going to show you what we brought in. And we are open to requests. So if you go shopping, well, not shopping, I don't want you to shop there, but if you go looking over on the Unity website and you see things that you like, we are happy to bring them in. So send us your wish lists, and we are happy to add them to our next order and bring those in for you. Like I said, it's new for us. We just kind of, dabbled in a few things. We're going to see how this goes. And I would say the initial reaction from our customers has been very good. We've been selling a lot. Like, I'm going to show you some, and we're down to the last one already. So, so it's fun. Yeah. So we're going to go through. Amanda was so kind, and she made up some slideshows for me so we can show you some samples and we can talk about different things. They have some really great stamps. Now, before we dive in, let's talk a little bit about rubber stamps, because some of you may not have been stamping when red rubber was pretty much the only thing you could get. This was before clear stamps. And all of Unity's stamps are red rubber. Now, let me find one here that I'm going to be keeping out, because we'll be working with it. But let me just see. Hold on one sec. I want to open one up that I'm going to keep. Okay, not in that pile. Of course it's not in that pile. Hold on. I should have been more prepared. Not that one. Oh, that is a good one too. Why is this hard? Oh, here we go. So, now this will probably mess up my slideshow order. This one, let's take this out of the package. So some of them come like this, where you have to pop the stamps out. So it's just one piece of rubber, but they're already like cut out. You just pop them out of the background, and then you have an individual stamp. But this one, of course, does not have that. It's already separated. But this is what you get. So it's actually red rubber. So you can't see through it. So for some of you, you might be going, oh my gosh, how is that going to work? Well, back when red rubber was the only thing, it was challenging because we didn't have these stamp positioning tools that we have now, like the MISTI. So the MISTI makes things much, much easier. But there is no better stamp to stamp with than a red rubber stamp. You get the best possible impression with a red rubber stamp. So as far as that goes, I mean, you can't really duplicate it. But I want to show you, I pulled out my MISTI because I wanted to show you kind of how you can work with these. So they are mounted on a foam piece. So it makes the stamp thicker than a photopolymer one. So when you're using your MISTI, you have to take out that filler piece. Same thing as if you're using Tailored Expressions stamps. You have to take that out. And you also have to remove this backing piece here. And what that does is it exposes this cling material. And that's what is going to stick to your stamping block or your MISTI lid. Okay. So I'm going to throw a piece of paper in here. And we're just going to stamp this just so you can get an idea. So I'm going to place it down kind of in the middle of my paper. And I'm going to close my lid, and that picks up the stamp. See how it just picks it right up? So it's sticking to this. And now we're going to go ahead and ink it up. And actually, you know what? Let's put that back down because I'm going to grab the sentiments. Do we have enough room? Because there's a couple of sentiments that come in this too. So I want to to stamp those out just so you can see. So we'll just put them along the side here. Like so. Okay, so we can ink all of this up together, and we're going to stamp it out just so you can see. So here's my stamps over here. Now I'm going to hold this up just so you can see. You can see that they're crooked, right? So this is where, again, I could take this and I could lift it off and use the grid on my MISTI and make sure that that's nice and straight. I can also do a test stamp. I'm just going to make sure that's going to go on there. Of course it's not. So we're going to leave it crooked just for demo purposes. Okay. So you can do a test stamp to make sure that it's going to be straight. And I can show you how I do that. I sometimes even do that with my photopolymer stamps that I can actually see through, because when I look, I think, oh yeah, that's straight. And then I stamp it and I'm like, that's not straight at all. So I'm going to grab an ink pad here and I'm just going to ink up the back just like you do any other stamp. Okay. Just adding some black ink. And then we're going to close the lid. And I'm going to grab my smooshing tool here. And this is just going to add light pressure and get a nice good stamp. Now, can you say, wow? Look at that. First try, done. It is absolutely incredible. I'm going to take this out so I can hold this up and show you. So that is one stamp, and it's beautiful. Now, when we get to the inspiration for this, I'm going to pull this back on so you can see what you can do with this. But, I mean, look at that. There's your greetings. Oh, it's a little bit blurry. Sorry. And then we'll move this over here. So it does give you a really, really beautiful impression. And the detail is just crazy. I love it. So that is kind of how you use a rubber stamp within the MISTI. Yes, red rubber has way more detail than photopolymer. You are 100% correct. Does anyone have any questions about this process? Now, if I wanted to make sure, let's remove this big one here. Let's say we were stamping on a card and we want to make sure that our stamp is going to be straight. Now, because this is not something that you can see through, right? So we want to make sure that our stamp is going to be straight. I'm just going to clean this off a little bit here. They also clean up really nice with like chamois and stuff too. Okay, so I'm just going to let that kind of air dry for a minute. And I'm going to grab one of these alignment guides that I have. Now, these are from Tailored Expressions. I think that My Sweet Petunia has them as well. And we have them in stock. And this you can place right over your paper. And it has a grid on it. So we're gonna see if this is straight. Okay, I'm just gonna place them how I think they are. Again, you can't necessarily go by the line of the stamp and say, oh, that's straight. Because when you flip it over like this, it might not be straight. So again, I can kind of adjust things a little bit here because I can see the grid on my lid. But let's say we think it's straight, but we're just not sure. Sorry, I'm just going to straighten this out a little bit. And we want to do a test. So I've placed that alignment panel over top of my paper. So I'm not going to stamp on my paper. I'm going to stamp on this alignment panel. Okay, and I'm going to just add some ink here. And this is just a test. So it doesn't really matter if they're inked up perfectly. You're just going to lightly press this down here. And on the grid, see, you can see if your stamp is straight or not. If it's not, no big deal. You just wipe this off over here. Okay, so just take that off. You can adjust your stamp a little bit, and then you can stamp again. And when you have it right, then you can remove this panel and stamp directly onto your paper. So that could be your card front. It could be whatever. So the alignment panels are very handy when you have stamps like this where you can't see through them. I use them a lot. Like I said, even the stamps that I can see through, sometimes I think they're straight, but it becomes very obvious when you have these lines on here and you stamp on it and you're like, oh, that's not straight at all. So, so definitely, if you don't have tools like this in your craft room and you do stamping, definitely pick up some alignment panels because they're great. You can use a piece of acetate and just cut it to like an A2 size or whatever to place over your panel. The problem with that is there's no lines on it. And the lines are very, very helpful. They really do help you line up your stamps well when you're using them. So I highly recommend the panels. They're not overly expensive. You buy them one time and you have them forever. And they often come with a few different sizes in them, so they're quite helpful. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to move forward. So that I just wanted to kind of show you what they look like when they're stamped out, because obviously I'm not going to be creating any cards or anything today, but I wanted you to see that quality. And I'll show you some samples of using that set in just a minute. So we're going to run through the ones that we got in. And let me just get myself set up here. I guess you kind of want to see. I think that's big enough. Okay. So the stamps come in a little package like this. So it's like a Ziploc bag. They have a cover sheet on them. It gives you information about, what to do when you first get them and so on, their care, and they have their social media stuff on here and whatnot. But it gives you a picture of the image. And then if you flip it over, that's where your stamp is going to be floating around in there. And like I said, some of them will be a big piece of rubber, and then you just pop the stamp out. And did you say they were TE alignment panels? Those ones were. Okay, let me just see. Let me just see if I can find them. Because I went and I wasn't really thinking about this. I should have had the information. Okay, so or a guide or something here. No, that's not the right word. Okay, so you know what? Let me just run downstairs and see if I can get them really fast. So just give me 1 sec. I'll run down there and grab some. Coming. Okay, so these are the ones that I just used. They are called Misty Clear Alignment Panels. Oops, there we go, right there. Misty Clear Alignment Panels. And in here, you get 3 panels. One of them is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. One of them is 3 1/2 by 6. And the other one is 6 1/2 by 8 1/2. Okay, so that's that one. And then Misty also has alignment grids. They're called alignment grids. Similar idea. It does not give me sizes on here. There are 2 or 3 different ones in here. So, so either one will work very well. Okay. Sorry, I was not more prepared with that. Okay, so this one is called Thanks a Latte, obviously coffee themed. And I do have some inspiration here. So I'm just going to flip to the next slide. So here you can see what the cool thing is about this. If you look closely at the coffee cup itself, do you see how it has like this shading kind of in over here? They have a lot of stamps that have this. And it is very helpful if you are coloring images because it shows you where the shadows should be. And it makes them very, very easy to color. Now, you'll notice that they have these 3 coffee cups layered. And you're like, well, how do they do that if there's no cutting dies? I looked this one up, and there is no cut file for this one. At least they don't show it on their website. I will show how you can find it when we get to another stamp set here. I'll show you. But you can fussy cut these images out as well. And you're going to go, oh, my gosh, really? But a lot of them are very simple designs and very easy to follow those stamp lines. So for instance, this one here that we just stamped out, you can take your scissors and easily follow around. You just, follow that black line around. Now, obviously, when you get to the bees and things, it gets a little trickier. But you could just, skip the bee, and then you can restamp it, and the bee would be on the panel behind it or something like that. Tons of masking techniques can be done with this. And you'll see when we go through the samples how most of their samples are not using dyes. So this one here is the coffee one. Thanks a latte. So there's sample number 1. There's sample number 2. And now we're going to move on to Autumn's Embrace. So this one is this beautiful barrel with the florals in it. And there is a greeting that goes along with it. And I'm just going to point out, if you go really closely, do you see those black lines around the outside edges there? That's showing you where the shadow should be. So when you're using your alcohol markers or your pencil crayons, you know that it's going to be like a little bit darker in that area. And the stamp will naturally help you do that, which is really cool. And you can see that in the coloring here. Isn't that cool? How the black is in the design, and it just really helps you do your shading. Oh, you want to color this one? I don't know if that one's on the list yet, but isn't it cool? It's a really beautiful one. And I know Christina can talk a little bit more about this than I can, but in this card here, you'll notice there's like a little bit of a watercolor like shadow in the background behind the barrel. I believe you can do that on your paper first. Then you can stamp your image, and then you can go in and you can watercolor in your barrel or your flowers, or you can even use your markers and things depending on what you're using. So you can like make a background in lighter colors, stamp over it, and then use your markers on top of that. So like I said, the techniques are endless, and we're going to start working with these things and start sharing some of that information too. It's going to take us a little bit of time. We just got the order in, so now I have to pass the things along to the girls, and then they'll get working on it and so on. So there's just so many things you can do, but they're really fun. And like I said, you'll notice most of these samples, they're stamped directly onto your card background. So no dyes required. Isn't that fun? And some of the samples, and they show this quite often, some of them don't even really have actual coloring going on. They've just ink blended over top of, or watercolored, like, right over top of the image, not staying in the lines or anything. And it still looks spectacular. Now, this one might be one of my favorites. This one is called Poinsettia Poetry. And the thing I'm going to point out about this is if you look closely at the image, do you see the text and the music notes? It's built right into the stamp. So when you stamp this, that is going to be stamped as well. And that's where this red rubber thing becomes really, really cool, because the detail that you can get when you do that is crazy. And you'll notice it in the samples here. So see all that text and everything that's within the petals of the flower? That is right in the stamp. So that stamps out so nicely. I love it on craft. I think it looks amazing. And you don't have to use the whole image either. You can stamp off of the edges of your panel and then trim your panel down a little bit, and then it becomes an image like this. You'll notice the sentiment on this one is not stamped with a die cut. It's a circle, and they just stamped the greeting right on the circle, and then that becomes an area that fills in some white space on your card. So it's just a different way of thinking. But like I said, there is so much inspiration on the Unity socials and their website even, that if you buy a particular stamp, you can just go like cruising through all those samples. And we've got a bunch uploaded to our website too, just to get an idea of how to use it. It's pretty cool. This is another really beautiful one. It's called Stories from the Cabin. So again, I don't know that you're really going to see all the detail. I'm going to kind of go up, see all that detail in the stamp. Believe it or not, that is all going to stamp out onto your paper, just as it shows on this one here. This is just a black and white image, which again is striking on its own. You could totally use that as a card front. You don't have to add any color at all. But if you do, it does look pretty great. Isn't it amazing? I just think it's so cool. And like this one here, they have stamped this image onto a, A2 size panel. They've done all of their coloring and ink blending and whatever. And then they use a shaped bracket die to cut it out. And then, just layer papers underneath and ink the edges up a little bit. And bam, you've got like a really cool look. All done right on a panel with no dies. Okay, and then this one is called Where Butterflies Wait. Another really beautiful image. So that pops right out of there. And then you've got 3 different greetings that go with that one. And here you can see they've stamped it onto a panel, and it's like a stitched postage stacklet kind of die. And they've just cut that out. And I think that blue watercolor kind of blending or whatever in the background there was done. The panel dries, and then they stamp the image on top, and then they go in with their markers, and then they splatter a little bit of white on top, and it just turns out so fabulous. And here's one where they stamp the image, and they've done just a watercolor technique either before or after, and just black and white. Sometimes these outline stamps are beautiful just on their own. And I love that little postage stamp in the bottom there with the heart on it. That's so cute. And here they've taken this design and just used it like coming off the side and showing different parts of the petals, which is also a really cool set as well. There's a lot of favorites. I don't know. We had a really hard time just picking. Like, we're going through their website and we're like, where do you even start? So we just kind of picked out some of our favorites and went with that. But there's so many more. So again, feel free to go over and browse. And if there's things that you would love, we would be happy to bring them in. So, and then they also have some really cute image stamps too. So this one is called Teddy with Love. And you get all these cute little sentiments. So there's the bear. Oops, it's upside down. There's the bear. And then all your little sentiments pop out. And I mean, how sweet are these? Now, I know, here, let me see if I can get this to be full screen. So you see how on a thin rectangle, they have stamped the bear and the sentiment on that panel, colored it all up, and then they've just layered pattern papers in behind. So there's no die. Your bear is stamped right on a thin panel, and that is your die, basically. And then you can just layer it up from there. But isn't that spectacular? I love it. I think it looks so good. And here, okay, so this is where I wanted to show you. I'm going to share my screen. Let's just see how much I can add to the stage here. Let's remove this. And let's add this. So let me pull this up. So this is the Unity website. And this is this teddy bear stamp, Teddy with Love. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see down here, right here, it says SVG cut file available for this set here. And if you click that, for 99 cents, you can buy a digital cut file that will cut out around the stamped image. Now, this is for electronic cutting machines like the Silhouette or the Cricut machine. So if you don't have those, it won't work. But if you have those machines and you're really hung up on the fact that you would like the ability to cut around the image and not do it yourself, then these files are available for some of the designs. So that is an option. We can't sell those. You have to buy that directly from them, but they're not actually shipping you anything. It's a download, and then you just go from there. So you don't get, duty and tariffs and all those fun things. So you don't have to be scared. You just have to do the exchange on the 99 cents, which isn't going to break the bank. So, so that is an option for some of the designs, and all you have to do is just go and find out if it is, and then you can do that. So I wanted to share that because I just think sometimes, oops. Okay, hang on. Remove. There we go. I just think sometimes, people like to craft in different ways. So we just want you to know that there is an option for that. So Tracy says, yeah, their shipping is horrendous. Yeah. We don't talk, yeah, we're not going to get into all that, but there's a lot going on in the world right now. And if you can shop local, Canadian, that is going to be your best option. I look at it this way. The money that you spend on shipping and all those surprise fees when it shows up at your door, it's so scary. Just think of the things you could buy if you didn't do that. And I mean, I will say, yes, it's going to take a little bit longer. You have to have a little bit of patience. Give us time to get it ordered and bring it in. But we can do it, and we're happy to do that. That's why we're here. But obviously people can shop any way they like. But if you just reach out to us, and more and more and more people are doing it, like honestly, the amount of product that we order in for customers that are special requests, it's crazy. We can't possibly carry everything, and we really try to focus on new releases. So, if there's things that you're seeing that maybe were released earlier, etc., then we're happy to bring those in. Just because we don't have it doesn't mean we can't get it. Terry says, just a warning, when you go to the Unity website to look, you are definitely heading down a rabbit hole. Yes. Yeah, they are starting to get dies for some of their stamps. Now, I will say they do not wholesale dies to stores. So that's a bit tricky for us. You pay what we pay, and it could come at a price. So I will say that they're not set up to do that. They're also not set up to sell their stencils and paper pads and different things like that too. So, you got to weigh the pros and the cons, and you have to educate yourself, and we're happy to help you do that, but you just have to reach out to us. So anyway, the teddy bear set is super cute. Like, and there's another one. There's no die around that. They've just used a really cute edge die. And, but look at the inspiration that you can get just from that card. A beautiful embossed background, those fun edge dies to create your panel. And you can stamp right on there and do your coloring. And then you've got a really interesting, cool card. They used to have a great golden retriever stamp. Not sure if they still do. Yep. I don't know either. They have a lot of really cool ones. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So definitely check it out. Okay, so that's it for that slideshow. Remove, and then we'll add this one and fix my screen. Okay, so that's the first pile done. Now we'll go on to the second pile. See, I wanted to do a live on just Unity because I knew there would be questions. I knew there would be chatter, and I didn't want to take too long. So this one here is, again, they have a lot of very punny sets as well, which I think is quite fun. And I think they have some things that you don't normally see. Like this one is really cool. It's called Cheese Chat. And really fun sentiments, like you are the greatest, like grating cheese. This might sound cheesy, but I think you're great. Have a great day. So really fun. And then here's your little stamps. And I'll just show you a little inspiration here just so you can see what it looks like when it's kind of cut up. Now here's another example where the tall cheese grater is stamped right onto a circle and then cut out. Now it looks like they cut out the cheese and popped it up. And then they've added googly eyes, which I think is hilarious. Even their sentiment is stamped right on that circle. And then the circle is layered onto pattern papers. You can do stencil backgrounds, all that kind of thing, which is really fun. So I think the potential is just amazing. And it really makes you think of things in a different way. And all of these concepts can be applied to your existing stamp library as well. Even if you have dies, these techniques that they're showing in these cards can be applied. And Carol says, it looks like most of the images would be easy to fussy cut. Yes. And I mean, a lot of us go, oh my gosh, I can't fussy cut. It's just so messy. And we can give some tips and tricks on that too when we are working with these stamp sets so that we can maybe help you get better results when you do it. Because there are some things that you can learn. This one is called Extra Love Pup. And I mean, how sweet is that puppy? So let's flip it over here. So there he is at the top. He'll just pop right out of there. And then you've got some really fun greetings. And look what he looks like. And see, notice the shadowing that's already done on the stamp when you stamp it. And here he is all cut up. And he's just stamped right on a panel with his greeting all set. There he is on a little circle. And he looks so sad. And one of the sentiments is, I heard you needed a little extra love today. And I mean, how fun is that? So I love that they show all these pattern papers. It's a great opportunity to dive into your scrap bin and pull out some of those pattern papers that you maybe don't use so much anymore. Or to stencil up a background or create a scene and then add the pup to it. And there's another one. Now this one is the last one for this. It's called the Look Up Pup. Okay. So this is our last one already. And there he is all colored up. Now you can see the shading that's done in the stamp when you stamp it out. Like look at all of the fur line, like the hair that's going to stamp out. Look at those eyes. And then you just go in with your markers and pencil crayons or whatever, and you get it. It's so easy to know where to do the shading. Christina, just take all my money. And I love these little butterflies that come with this one too. They're so cute. Very, very cute. All right. Now, they do have really great sentiment sets as well. So this is called Love by a Dog. And all of this is just sentiments. And I did put the slide up so you can get a better idea of what they say. But sorry you lost your best friend. The word love has the paw print in it, which is really cute. You have some paw print stamp and a heart stamp on its own. There's no greater earthly privilege than to have been loved by a dog. Furry friends should live forever. I'm sorry for your loss. So there's some really cute ones in there that you can use. So if you're looking for a nice stamp set for that. And then this one, well, this just shows some of the cards just using sentiments, but let's see, here's a sentiment stamped right on a heart, which I thought is kind of a cool idea. This one is super cute. This is one of their peaking stamps. They have quite a number in this of stamps like this in this collection. And this one is called Just Because. Like funny things like what's clucking? Hope all is well at your roost. Sending a card just because. Hey, chickie, you got this. And so they show this little guy peeking out like kind of from behind a wall or behind the corner of a building or whatever you want it to look like. But look how amazing that looks. So you can tell that the image is a bit smaller. That's an A2 size card. So it's not taking up your whole card, but it's taking up like, you know, when you have your nesting rectangles, you just use the smaller sizes and it kind of runs the whole edge and it's kind of peeking out behind, which I think is really fun. So you might find you use some of your supplies that you don't normally grab for, because when you grab your rectangles or your squares, you're always grabbing for the largest sizes to, you know, cut out your panels. Well, now you can use some of the smaller ones, which is kind of fun. But there he or she is peeking out again, which is really fun. And this one is called Still Pecking Fabulous. Your birthday suit needs ironing. I love that. Let's party like we don't need naps. You're still younger than you'll be next year. Birthdays are for strutting your stuff. And then you've got those really cute birds holding balloons. This one is very funny. And again, there is like a banner strip is what they have put the two old chicks on. And that becomes, you know, the area that is your panel for your card. And I love the layering. I think it's so fun. This guy looks stoned or that he needs a nap. Let's party like we don't need naps. It's so funny. Like if somebody sent that card to me, I would laugh right out loud. Now this one is my favorite one it's the last one too. This is my favorite one with these chicks. And one of the card samples is what hooked me. But this one's called the pecking order. So the stamp is all three birds connected. Okay. And then you've got a few really fun greetings. And you also get the feet that you can stamp footprints with. So you guys ready for this? Like they look so shocked. And they're like, no pecking way. Oh, I love it. And again, look at how they did the panel. They did like a cloud border die across the top with another pattern paper underneath. And then the panel itself is just the birds, which I just think is awesome. And this one was my favorite. What? Oh my word. Like, just use your alphabet dies and you cut out the word what? And then here it is done on craft. And there's those footprints up the side. And I love this. We were as surprised as you. So yeah, it's just a really fun set. I love it. And then they have some great masculine sets too. So this one's called Keep It Classy. And obviously it's an older, like classic car. Great sentiments. Things like happy birthday, vintage style, vintage vibes, timeless laughs, endless adventures. Old is the new cool. To that guy who always keeps it classy. They don't make them like you anymore. So I thought, really cute sentiments. And I like that you get a variety of fonts with these as well. So some of them are typed, some of them are script. Like a lot of their fonts change throughout the sets. And look at that. Like the car is stamped in black and white because again, when you stamp this out, see all the shading you're going to get? Like a lot of the areas are blacked out. So if you want a red one, you don't have much to color to make it red. So it's really fun. They've done a lot of work for you. And here's kind of a colored version of the car. Again, really simple to fussy cut around the image. And I like the way they did the sentiments on this. They just stamp them on paper and just cut them out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So I think it's cool. And then just layer those papers in behind and you've got a really awesome looking card. Just switching up my slides. So that's that pile. And then, whoops, pile number 3. Again, another really great masculine. Doesn't have to be masculine, but I think beer masculine is kind of cool. Another beer older. I'm beer for you. A cold one for the old one. That's a good one. And then this one at the top says cheers, beers, and many more years. I've heard that sentiment lots. So it's a cool one. And look how great that beer looks when you color it up. Because again, all of that darkness or shading is going to stamp when you stamp out the actual image. So I love that. Lots of great opportunities for layering in your papers in the back. There's a couple that have been fussy cut out. Not sure if there's cut files available for this, but they could have done that. But isn't that cool how it looks? And then they do have a whole, they call it the Pissy Kitty line. It's actually quite funny. This is the last one we have of this. It's called Trash Talkin' Pissy Kitty. The kitty is always grumpy. And there are some snarky little sentiments. If this ends up in the trash, oh, I'll know. Do not trash. I'm watching you. So like this would be great to put on the back of a card that you've made. This card deserves fridge space at minimum. Made by hand, keep forever or else. So really fun options. And then the cat can peek out on the back of the card. It can be something that it uses on the front of the card. You can do whatever you like. But here is an image just showing you that you can just use that image on its own. You can draw a line or have a piece of cardstock that overlaps another piece of cardstock, and you can have it peeking out from behind. And you can see how they've used this shape to put the sentiment on. And this is the Sourpuss Scholar, so a graduation one. Look at you all educated and stuff. All that complaining and you still graduated. That diploma looks suspiciously legitimate. Now what? And finally done. Sheesh. So again, it's stuff that kind of works for like high school students or college students. Maybe they had to, do a victory lap year or something like that. And they're like, wow, you finally did it. But it's just a really fun concept. And looks amazing when you get them all colored up for sure. But that grumpy cat. And then this one is called Simply Sunflowers. And this one is kind of like a border set. So this middle part will pop out. And it leaves kind of like an open space in the middle. But look how gorgeous it looks when it's done. It's amazing. And there's one where they've just colored a couple of the flowers. So you can do a lot of really fun things with it. This is one of my favorites because it is a great backdrop. It's called Jot It Down. So nice background stamp. You can put absolutely anything on this. It does come with a couple of stamps, one that has hearts and one that has a large greeting, but you can use it for anything. So here they've got an image on it with somebody reading. There's the hearts at the top. That's the one set of stamps, and there's the greeting. May today be the best day. You can just use it like that, but I love the look of it. I think it looks spectacular. Now, this is the one that I stamped out for you. This is called, I took it out of the lineup here. Sweet Bee Blooms. And again, there is the image that we stamped out, which just looks amazing. And here is some inspiration. Isn't that gorgeous? Like, wow. And then this one is called The Good You Grew. So you got a beautiful image here. And again, I'm going to point out that that text that's in behind, that is part of the stamp. So that's going to stamp out when you stamp out the image. And you get a nice little sentiment. And then you also get this really cool like splatter stamp, which is kind of fun. And there they put the image on a tag. And you can see that script that's in the background. That stamps with the stamp. This one's done. They've painted this actually on vellum. They have a tutorial on their YouTube channel. I watched it. It's very interesting. Look at the little hedgehog. So this is called a Hedgie Hello. So there's your hedgehog. He's sweet. And you can see that you get all of the marks for the fur. Is that what you call it? Fur. It's holding some flowers. And then there are greetings that come with it as well. And it looks so sweet when you color it up. So here they put the greeting on a cloud, which I thought was kind of interesting. I never would think to do that, but you get so many different ideas from looking at these cards. So I love the little hedgehog. And we have one more slideshow, one more pile of stamps. Ugh. Okay, this is kind of a big one. I have to kind of keep these off to the side because I have to warn you before I pull them up. Woo! Okay, so this one is the turtley stamp. And I mean, look at the sweet turtle. It says, don't hurry, be happy. You've got this one little step at a time, and I turtley love you. So there's your little turtle, and you got all your fun stamps that go with it. I love the open heart as well. And here are some ideas. So again, that turtle is stamped on a circle. And there it is on a panel. And then this one is called Love You Dearly. So you've got that kind of sunflower type image and tons of greetings that go along with that. And look how beautiful you can make that. The nice thing about these florals is that you can make them any color you want. So you can do them soft, you can do them vibrant. And the greetings, the hey, hi, hello, and love you dearly, that's part of the sentiments that are shown in this. And then we have quite a few sentiment stamps. So this one's called the Snarky Crafter. So I've made the image a little bigger so you can see. I'm not going to read them all, but You better keep this masterpiece forever. This is not store-bought because I am so much better than that. I love the little envelopes that you get, the heartburst, crafted with passion and at least one swear word. So there's some fun, snarky little things on here too. And this one says, yes, it's handmade. No, you may not throw it away. So I like that one. Then we've got a snarky cat thought one. And this one has like a little, like a cloud bubble that goes above anything. And you can stamp stuff in it. So there's that set right there, or that piece right there that's really fun to have that you can use with other stamps you might have. But these are obviously cat themed. To one of the few people I can tolerate, your cat doesn't give, oops, I can't say that word. Your cat doesn't give a bleep, but I do. So there's some fun ones on there. There's the WTF, which again is a really good one to have in your stash. This one is the snarky graduation. So you can see that you get the grad cap and then some really fun sentiments. And you can take a closer look at all of these sentiments on our website. If you just pull up the sets and look through them all. Then we've got the snarky birthday. And that one has the candles and the star. And then we have a happy retirement one. So you get the nice big happy retirement, which is nice to have. And then there's a whole bunch of other little ones that you can use too. I like this one, no work, all play. So that is cool. And then they have the I did, I do, I will. So it's like an anniversary type of set. And then I love this tiled letters. These are really cool. So these are all individual stamps. They pop out, but then they have blank ones too. And you can cut out squares ahead of time and stamp these right on them and kind of make like little Scrabble tiles to spell different things. So I thought this one was really fun. So that's the tiled letters. And then before we move on, I just want to warn people right now, these ones are R-rated stamps. So if you are not into that and you don't want to watch this part, you just turn your head for a minute. But these are selling very, very well. I did order quite deep on these. Oh, there's a sample using the tiles. This one is called Old Enough to Know Better. I won't actually say the bad words, but I'll let you read them. So there's the happy birthday bleep. Laugh till you leak. It just makes it that much funnier. I know many of us can relate to that. Old enough to know better. Too young to give a bleep. You are pretty fucking... Oops. Sorry. You are pretty bleeping awesome. Keep that bleep up. Oops, that slipped out. I love this one. Bleep could be worse. And there's a little... emoji there, which is kind of fun. So again, they're kind of edgy. You may or may not like that, but we did bring them in and they are selling very well. On our website, there's like a warning graphic and you have to click on it. And then you'll have to scroll down and look at the images. This one is Bleeping Awesome Birthday. I'll let you read that. So that is kind of a fun one. And then this one is entitled, Oh, Bleep. So there's some pretty fun ones there using that word. So they are great, but if it's not your thing, we get that. And oops, I already did that one. Okay. And then we have a stencil. So this is called Pine Ridge. Now this is an actually a very cool stencil because if you look at the image here, the top of the stencil, you would be stenciling around the tree images. And at the bottom of the stencil, you are actually stenciling the trees. So you get two variations. This is kind of the same as a grass stencil. Sometimes you stencil around the grass that's peeking up and sometimes you stencil into the grass. So you're actually making it. And this is really cool because you can get some pretty cool layering effects using that. So that's what it kind of looks like when you put a couple layers together. You can make some pretty awesome backgrounds. And this is done on a text paper. which is also another great idea. I'm going to be showing you some paper pads in a minute. And they've got some really fun designs in them. And I love that they did this stenciling on a piece of patterned paper, which was really cool. And then, oh yeah, we had one more set. Where did I do that? I had to shuffle my slides around. It was being stubborn. This one here is called Cheers, bro. Or bruh. I mean, that is just such a common saying with our young adults now. And I love that it has the beer, and then they've got some really fun sentiments here. So there's your beer and your really cool sentiments. So if you've got boys in your family who like beer, it's a really fun set. And I like this card. Look, they even put a little beer tab on there as part of an embellishment on the card, which I thought was pretty fun. And same on this one, they kind of tied it on there. But this one doesn't even have any color on it, which is really cool because there's so much shading in the stamps that sometimes it does a lot of the work for us. Okay, that's it for that. All right, let's remove that from the stage. And then let's talk about some of the paper that came in as well. So we did get a number of the 6x6 pads, and they're really fun. I'm not opening them up because they're all sealed up and ready to sell. But you can get a good idea just by looking at the front, and I'll try to leave them on here a bit. This is called A Little Tenderness, and it would be really great for like feel better kind of cards. So you've got pattern papers with like pills and little hot water bottles and stethoscopes and Band-Aids and fun things. And then you've got graph paper and Band-Aid paper, little hearts. So there's really, really cute papers in here that are sort of themed for that feel better thing. These papers are single-sided. So get all these designs in here. This one is called Beer Me, and obviously has to do with beer. Now, you'll notice that not all the patterns are themed. So they've got some really nice, just really cool prints that are great for layering. And then they do have some of the papers that are themed. Same with this one. Again, there's a couple of them that are really themed, but then the rest are very generic and can be used for layering and just, you know, other themes. Just a nice color palette. This is called the Boho Baby Bear. So again, you do have one pattern that has the bears on it, but look at all these sweet patterns that don't. And I love that nice soft color scheme, which is really cool. So Boho Baby Bear. This was called the Distinguished Gents. So really nice, like tweeds and herringbone patterns, stripes in those nice, deep, rich browns. I don't know that. It doesn't tell me on the package. I think it's going to vary because some of them feel a little thicker than others. Maybe that's my imagination. But I can look in here. Let's just open up this one. And we'll flip through and see. So it looks like two. So there's the bears. They're really cute. But you don't want bears on everything. And then there's actually, oh, there's two. Yeah, there's two of each pattern in the Boho Baby Bear. So I would think that that's pretty standard in most of them, but you know, they can switch it up. I don't know exactly. It doesn't give the information on the package. Sorry, I want to get this back in here so I don't mess up somebody's paper pack. This one is called the Fall Aura. I love, like, again, one pattern paper that has the pumpkins on it. You've got one with leaves. Some fall trees, but look at these other ones. Like there's a lot of really great basics in here that are nice. And I love the color palette. This one's called Honey at Heart. It's got Winnie the Pooh on it, guys. Look. So cute. But then it's got some really nice patterns that don't have Winnie the Pooh on it. But they're, again, nice for layering. But this one, I mean, come on. This one's called Perk Me Up. So this is the coffee themed one. Again, some things that have coffee on them, but others just have really beautiful, rich, neutral tones to them. I love this one. This one's called Take 'em Fishing. So again, a few with themed backgrounds on them. I'm just going to open this one up because I think you got to see some of them. So there's your fish, your net. That has nothing to do with fishing at all, but it looks amazing. Same thing with that. stripe. Look at that one. Oh my gosh. There's another fish one. Nice deep plaid. So lots of options that are not themed, which I think is really cool. Oh, put this in the right way. And then the next one is called the 19th Hole, which is a golf themed one, which I think is also really cool. My son plays golf, and I think it'd be great to have some themed paper. So it's got the tees, it's got the golf balls. One of the papers will have this guy on it, but then you've got these nice argyle patterns and stripes, which are really fun too. And this one is called Whimsy Hearts, and look how fun that palette is. So you get all these petite hearts. You get hearts with the word love, stripes, dots, etc. So again, a really nice one. So that's just a few paper pads. And again, depending on how they do, we'll probably bring in more because they're just excellent. Okay. I think that's it. So what do you guys think? Do you love Unity as much as we do? I think it's going to be a really great seller. I think customers are really going to like it. And I think that there's just so much inspiration that give you so many different ideas on how to use the products and different things that that you can use with the Unity products or with things that you already have in your stash. So definitely check out the line because it's pretty cool. And like I said, if you decide that you want to go over to the Unity website and have a peek, you can always send us your wish list, and we are happy to order in specific designs and so on. How do you choose? I don't know. That's a you problem, Robin. I'm going to pass that on to you. We already had to do a little choosing. And like I said, we brought in kind of a nice selection of them, but it certainly does not put a dent in their library. So, you know, we'll see how things go and how people like them, and then we'll go from there. So that's what I know. Thanks so much for stopping in and checking out the live. And if you're watching it on replay, thanks for doing that too. Any questions? Feel free to send us a quick email. This is what we're here for, guys. We do not mind at all if you are, you know, wondering about something, you misunderstood something, you didn't hear something right, you're confused about something. Just reach out, and we are happy to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so that's pretty easy. And giving this video a thumbs up would be great too. We would really appreciate that. And we will see you all again soon.